we need to work together on a comprehensive plan. But at the core of this plan, it must be border security. I think we need to put in place the policies that President Trump had that were stemming the flow and providing order. We also need to work on adding judges so these asylum cases are heard more quickly. And it should be done, quite frankly, at the border instead of allowing individuals in the interior. And you're seeing, like right here in New York City, where it's a decade-long wait now for a court date. So what's happening is because all these individuals are coming in claiming asylum, and the courts show that 2/3 of those who claim asylum are denied. So they're not necessarily legitimate asylum cases. And they created a tremendous backlog for those individuals who, like my parents, they came the right way, they did everything right, and they're just waiting their turn in line. They're kind of setting all those individuals back. So it's a combination of border security. Let's add more asylum officers and judges. Let's increase the number of work visas and employer-sponsored visas and family visas, so that way we can track these individuals. But it's got to be a combination. It has to start with border security first.
So why hasn't the Congress and the Senate gotten together and say, look, we got to work this thing out? Because, listen, if you asked Mayor Adams, and we have, he would rather this not be happening. He feels like this is a sanctuary city. He's not going to turn people away who don't have homes. And they were brought here by the governor of Texas, who bussed them here saying, get out of my state. If we can do that there in Texas, some of this problem would be eliminated. That's a federal issue. Why hasn't the federal government come up, including Congress and the president and the Senate, and said, hey, look, we're going to fund all this. We've got to have some sort of rational policy here to deal with all this?
Yeah, well, I've actually spoken with Senator Gillibrand about that, and we do want to work together. We passed legislation, as you know, in the House. It was mostly border security, but it also did have a component of some visas, as well as streamlining the asylum process. It did also put in place protections for children who right now are being exploited, and it's very difficult for children in particular who are being taken advantage. We got to remember what the president has allowed here with the policy is he's basically encouraged the human trafficking and drug trafficking. The drug cartels have now increased their profits to about $13 billion annually. So no one is doing better off of this than the cartels. If we want to stop the flow of fentanyl and drugs coming into our country, we need to target the cartels, and that's why stopping this migration that is happening, that is where they're making their profits, really is critically important for the safety of American citizens as well. Yeah. So we've passed our bill. We would like the Senate to do something, pass your own bill if you don't like our bill. But once they need to do something so we can then reconcile the differences, or the president could do this today. He did it via executive order. Quite frankly, he could undo it via executive order as well. So I think there's different pieces here to resolve this problem. I don't think the mayor helped, quite frankly, by misinterpreting the New York City right to shelter law. I think that he should not have allowed this to occur.
So what would we have done?
Because it's only further incentivized the problem.
What would you have him do? Because on Friday he said this. He said he feels powerless to stop the seekers from coming in because they're just coming in, being bussed from Texas. We're going to let people in because we're a sanctuary city, and we have to pick up the tab. That's the humane thing to do. What would you say he should do with that?
Well, first of all, I think we should be reconsidering the sanctuary policy, because also, remember, Bill de Blasio went so far in changing the sanctuary policy that even if an individual is here and they commit a crime, they are shielded. They are shielded by NYPD. They will not cooperate with federal authorities to deport them. And I think that's a problem. And we also have to remember what I said at the beginning was that based on court data, roughly 2/3 of individuals are denied asylum, which means they're certainly just using that to get into the country. Right. So I think that the mayor, this city is the only city that is providing free housing, which, by the way, it comes out to roughly more amount in services for these individuals who are not citizens than the average New Yorker's salary. So it's just not right. It's a tremendous burden to be placing on the taxpayers of our city. I think you should also be very firm with the president. I think if more Democrats start telling the president how ridiculous this is and how unsustainable it is, we may have more pressure placed on him to do the right thing and undo some of these policies.